All right, welcome back to Wild Car Wednesday. Today's really going to be a wild show. I'm going to do less drawing and more talking about what's going on one of my wild cars, the 55 Chevy Gasser. Well, I've worked out some trades and I have a surprise coming up for you. Let me show you what I'm trading for some engine stuff. And I'm going to go pick that up today, or at least go look at it. I think you're really going to like it. So this little girl right here is a 1978 Chevy C10 tow truck. And I got this a while back, thinking that maybe I could have some fun with it and go pick up my cars in this. And it's actually in really good shape, body-wise, no rust at all. Really straight, nice 350 small block Chevrolet engine in it. It has 89,000 original miles on it. You got the nice push bumper up front. It's actually going to be a pretty cool car for somebody. Pretty cool truck. Old school tow truck, that's what that is. Old school tow truck. So, what I'm doing is, I'm trading this and another truck for something special for the Gasser. So this Wild Car Wednesday, I'm going to be changing a tire here. That won't be exciting, but I'll show you. And I'm going to be loading this thing up. I'm going to be running over to my friend Don's house, and we're going to be making a trade. And when I get there, I think you'll be surprised. The surprising part is that he's willing to trade. That's all right. Maybe he's just trying to help me out. Anyway, let me get a tire changed. We're going to get this girl loaded up, and we're going to head off for a Wild Car Wednesday that's going to be different than anyone I've ever done.
Watch me sway, darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river. Oh, bury me, carry me up. Taught me how to live, Daddy taught me how to give. Both of them had their own sins. Down to the river, every man has felt the shame. All our blood, it runs the same. Father, hear us as we pray. Down to the river, down to the river. Sing,
All right, well, you get a little bit different perspective this time because I forgot my selfie stick. Anyway, headed over to Don's to make a trade. All right, I made it to Don's. We're getting ready to walk in here. I buy and sell a lot of stuff at Don. Don is a good guy. We're gonna do some trading. Sure, that was Don right there. There it is, right there. All right, I talked earlier about a blown small block, and that looks like it's all taped up and all kind of stuff, but that engine right there is the perfect engine for my 55 Chevy. And I am going to draw up and explain how a supercharger works here in a little while, and how an engine works for those of you who don't know. Most of you do, but some don't. And why that would be so great for that car. All right, I already took pictures of this, but I just thought I'd give you a review of what it is. This is the one that's going to go to the No Name Nationals. This is my Wild Car Wednesday. And I think it's going to be awesome. I'll show you one of the rims I'm going to use here in just a minute. This is a rim that goes on the front of it. They're really cool. They're 10-spoke rockets. They're a modern wheel, but they're made to look like a vintage Gasser wheel. So anyway, this girl is going to get a supercharged small block in it. That's the engine I just showed you. All right, so I'm pretty excited about this engine that we're going to be installing in the car. It's way cool. It's perfect for a Gasser. Going to give me a lot more power. We might actually win a race or two. I think it's turned out really cool. Wanted to tell you that we're doing a little bit of a twist on the giveaway. I've had a lot of people say, hey, I may not be able to afford to transport the truck. So there will be an option, a cash out option, to just take cash instead of the truck if you win the truck. And that way, if you live in Australia, hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod, and you don't want to ship it to Australia, you can go ahead and still enter the contest and we'll send you some cash. So haven't decided exactly how much that is yet, because I'm, you know, not the richest guy in the world, but there will be a cash out option for you to use. Anyway, I wanted to remind you to subscribe, give a like, share the video, and send me a comment to enter into the contest for the 67 C10. This Friday we're going to have another special Friday edition, and on Sunday we'll have our normal edition. And in these two videos there is going to be a huge transformation on this truck. You need to check it out. Anyway, I'm going to go on inside, I'm going to do some drawing, and I'm going to do some explaining on how internal combustion engines work and superchargers work, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. And hopefully maybe you'll learn something, or maybe you can teach me something. Anyway, let's go on inside. All right, welcome back to Wildcard Wednesday. Appreciate you guys coming by and visiting. As you saw earlier, I did a little bit of video that isn't my typical Wildcard Wednesday, and took a truck and made a trade and got an engine. And in this Wildcard Wednesday, I'm sort of summarizing what we're going to do to another car, and I think it would be sort of cool to show the different aspects of an internal combustion engine and why a supercharger works. Now, probably most of you already know this, but a few of you may not, and I thought you might like to see it. So let me show you what's going on. All right, let's see if this will work. Okay, so very first thing you need to know on a 4-stroke internal combustion engine, it obviously has 4 strokes, and those strokes are intake, compression, power, and exhaust. So let me explain what that is. So in an internal combustion engine, you have fuel, whether it's gasoline or diesel or jet fuel or whatever it might be, but you have fuel and you have air, and you combine those two elements together, vapor form. Better than a liquid is if it's in a vapor form. So on an engine, you have to bring that air fuel mixture in, then you have to compress it, which makes it very volatile. Then you hit a spark plug, and your power comes from that explosion of gas and air, and then you have to get rid of that gas and air, and you have your exhaust. So here's basically what happens. Let's say that these are 2 valves. This is an enclosed combustion chamber area, and this is a cylinder. You remember the other day I showed you a piston and a cylinder, and let's say here's a piston, and it has a rod down here that connects to a crankshaft. Okay? As this piston goes up and down in the cylinder, it does different things for each stroke. So what happens is on the intake stroke, as this piston is going down, the intake valve will open up and it will suck in air fuel mixture through the carburetor or through the fuel injection unit or whatever it might be. It sucks it in, and it's not the most efficient means, but it sucks it in. And this piston comes all the way down, and it's rotating on an oblong or on an offset main bearing, or rod bearing, sorry. And as this piston goes down, it sucks in the fuel, and then this valve is going to close. So it's a closed combustion chamber again. And then because of the rotation of that circle, it's going to force that piston back up. And when it forces that piston up, it makes those gases really tight together, and it makes it very volatile. And then here in the middle is a spark plug. And shoots a spark down here while that piston's all the way up, and that spark comes into that volatile air-fuel mixture, and it makes an explosion. That explosion pushes the piston down again. So now we're going back down again. So that's where your power comes from. That's the power stroke. So we had intake where that valve was open, piston's coming down. Compression, the valve closes, the piston's coming back up, compresses. We have a spark, and then we have a power stroke where it forces that piston down, and then the piston's going to coast back up again. We're going to open the exhaust valve, and the exhaust, or the spent gases will go out the exhaust pipe. And that's your internal four-cylinder or four-stroke. That's your internal combustion four-stroke engine. That's the basic thing. Bring it in, you compress it, you explode it, and you get rid of it. So here's why a supercharger works. Well, let me back up. The more air fuel you can get in there and get out, and the faster this can move up and down, the more powerful the engine is. So they go through in racing and they do all kinds of different power adders, from nitrous oxide to high performance fuels, nitromethane, etc. But basically it boils down to the more you get in, explode, and the more you get out, the faster the car is going to be. So what a supercharger does is this, and there's different kinds of superchargers. There's a root style supercharger, which I just bought on this engine. I didn't buy it, but I traded. There are centrifugal superchargers. There's axial superchargers, but this one is a root style supercharger. And so what happens is, it's a gigantic compressor. So as this piston comes down for the intake, instead of having to suck the fuel in, you have your supercharger up here. We're going to make it look like that because that's sort of what they look like. And you have your carburetors or your fuel injection on top. And this thing is working as the lobes come around. They squeeze, and they squeeze that air, and it compresses it. And so that compressed air is going to come around down here. And when that valve opens, instead of it having to suck it in, it is compressed in there. It's forced in there with force. So you get a whole bunch of air and gas in there. And then it comes up, it does its thing, it explodes, it comes down, and it goes, as long as you have enough exhaust, large enough ports, and large enough exhaust pipes to get it out, that supercharger makes this engine much more efficient and much more powerful for the same size engine. So it's sort of a cheater's way almost, but there's lots of classes where it's allowed. But what we're doing here is we're taking an engine that would normally, let's say this is a 355 cubic inch engine, small block Chevy, because they've punched it out. That 355 would maybe make 350 horsepower. With this supercharger on there, it might make 500 or 600 horsepower or more if you gear it properly, or you change the cog, you change the pulleys, you get a different carburetor, and you advance the timing, and you have good enough heads. You can get all kinds of horsepower out of them. But this one probably will make somewhere around 500 or 600 horsepower is what I would bet. So bottom line is, that's how an engine works. Intake, compression, power, exhaust. That's why a supercharger works. A turbocharger is very similar in its principle, except it is not spun off from a belt on the engine like this one is. A turbocharger is spun off from the exhaust gases as they pass by a little turbine. And as that exhaust goes past there, it spins it really fast. And on the other side of the turbine is a turbine that sucks air and fuel in and pushes it into the engine. So basically that's what makes it more efficient right there. Compressed gases here instead of having to suck that gas in. So hopefully that was interesting to you. So real quick, I'm going to do a little sketch, an odd rod sketch, I think, of a 55 Chevy with a 671 blown small block in it. So let's see if we can do this.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. 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 When it rains, it pours. Water's up to my chin. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it. Many men have failed. Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell. And I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They say no to sleepless nights. Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sun rises, when the sun we're trying to catch me howling at the moon. Trying to catch me howling at the moon. We're trying to catch me howling at the moon. Trying to catch me. Trying to catch me. Trying to catch me howling at the moon. Trying to catch me.
That's sort of a fun little build. Probably not exactly like it's going to turn out, seeing as how my engine's not going to stick way up like that. But hey, just so you guys know, okay, that's an odd rod style drawing right there. And so in the 70s, believe it or not, there's someone still alive from the 70s. In the 70s, when I was a young man, there were some little trading cards, some little bubblegum packs. They were called odd rods. And odd rods were wild cars drawn about like that with monsters coming out of them. They had weird names, and I loved those cars. I loved the cards, I loved the cars, I loved the monsters. They were called odd rods. Look them up online, odd rods, or odd rod trading cards. They're really cool. I have a complete set of them. They're not pristine, but they're really cool. And so I always loved that ridiculous style of car, and so I thought, if I'm going to do a channel and do a shop, I'm going to call it the Odd Rod Garage. Which is why I like some of the really exaggerated, the small cars with the big engines. It's that style of drawing. It's that style of illustration. So that's why I named my channel the Odd Rod Garage. Now, real quick, you heard me talk about the giveaway truck. It is coming up in about 2.5 weeks. That is going to be given away. And I've had some people say that, you know, they can't afford to ship it clear across the country or around the world. And so there is going to be a cash buyout option. If you decide you like the truck, but you can't afford to take care of it or can't afford to get it there, then we'll give you a certain amount of cash, and we keep the truck, and you take the cash and go. Haven't decided what that number is exactly. You know, I'm not super rich, so I would like to have it about $7, but that's probably not going to happen. But anyway, you'll have the option, if you win the truck, to decline the truck and take cash instead. In that situation, I'll drive it around for a week or two and I'll put it up for sale, and then it'll be up for sale. So anyway, hopefully that'll work out for whoever's going to do it. Hopefully that will work out for whoever's going to win the truck. So I need you to remember, this Friday we have a special edition coming up, and also Saturday or Sunday morning. And I am going to be making a lot of progress on the truck this week. It's going to really change. Metamorphosis is going to happen. So give us a like, give us a message, ask to be entered into the drawing. The drawing is coming up really fast. The truck's turning out really nice. I'm very pleased with it. I really appreciate you guys coming by and hanging out with us tonight, or this morning, or whenever it is you're doing it. And as always, thanks for watching.